Touch your sister and say, it's not ideal, but I'm coming. It's not perfect, but I'm coming. It's not comfortable, but I'm coming. I may be bruised, but I'm coming. I may have to cry, but I'm coming. I may have to sacrifice, but I'm coming. I may have to crawl out on my hands and knees, but look out, devil, here I come.
From the hills of West Virginia, to the cover of Time magazine, to the nations of the world, prolific author Bishop T.D. Jakes is back with an all-new book that is certain to become an instant bestseller, Instinct.
Ooh, I'm down to the core. I know I'm down to the core. You know how I know I'm down to the core? Because I see seed. I see seed. You either cut down to it or you rot down to it. But until you get down to the core, you'll never be effective.
To celebrate the launch of his new book, Bishop Jakes called upon pastor and talk show host Bishop George Bloomer to talk about his life-changing work.
There he is.
There he is.
Welcome to the Potter's House.
Bishop, good to be here. Great to be
We
here.
are excited to have you.
I'm excited too.
It's a big day for us.
Big day for us. Yes. Instinct.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be talking about and excited to share it. I think it's going to be a very powerful, provocative interview. So,
Yeah, we're going to talk about great Jakes and great Jakes. That's the response I was looking for. That's the response I was looking for.
You got it. You got it. Not a problem. Bless you.
Excellent.
How are you, sir?
Going right here. This is Dave from the Word Network.
Hello, sir. How you doing? You good? Good.
After Sunday morning service at the Potter's House, Bishop Jakes and Bishop Bloomer sat down for a candid and informative interview. Ready in 5, 4, 3, 2.
God bless you. I'm Bishop George Bloomer, host of Rejoice in the Word, which can be seen every Friday night right here on the Word Network, 8 to 10. Tonight, today, we are rejoicing at the Cathedral of Dallas, the Potter's House. And I'm here with the rabbi, pastor, father, musician, best-selling author, playwright, producer, life coach, senior pastor of the Potter's House, Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Thank you, Bishop. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Oh, this is wonderful and a dream come true. God is good. I like to get all of my interviews started by doing what I call a one-for-one. The one-for-one is I give you a word and you tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
That might be dangerous, but let's play.
Okay, let's play. I like that. Let's play. Anthropomorphic.
God.
Antiquated.
Religion.
Metamorphosis.
Process.
Loyalty.
Friend.
Loyalty.
Friend.
Loyalty.
Me.
Relentless.
Also me. Sometimes my wife.
Rejected.
Savior.
Arrogant.
Pretentious.
Arrogant.
People.
One more time. Arrogant.
I don't want to name names. There are some names that pop in mind, but let's leave it general.
Family.
Safe.
Mother.
Protected.
Mother.
Nurturer.
Wow. Mother.
Friend.
Mother.
Special.
Favorite scripture in the Bible.
Psalms 27, 1 through 5.
It says,
The Lord is my light and my salvation. Of whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, they stumbled and fell. Though a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. The war should rise against me, in this will I be confident. One thing have I desired of the
My
Lord.
God.
That will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. Whew.
wow,
Verbatim.
pain.
Process.
Ambitious.
Guided.
Ambitious.
Controlled.
An ambitious person
Can be dangerous
can be dangerous.
if out of control.
You did good.
Thank you.
But I have one more word I would like to ask you. Friend. Let's talk about friends. Who is Bishop T.D. Jakes' friends?
Oh, gosh. I've got a lot of friends. If I start naming them and leave someone out, I'm going to be in trouble. But I think that the thing that is most interesting about my friends is that they transcend every barrier imaginable. I have dear friends that are pulpiteers that I've known for years that are valuable to me. I have friends that are business people. I've got friends that are Jewish. I've got friends that are Republican and Democrat. I often joke that if all of my friends came in the room at the same time, they'd probably kill each other.
Wow.
Because my ability to embrace different people from different walks of life is somewhat rare. And so it's an eclectic group of people.
Wow. An eclectic group of people. And so they're like private stock.
Oh yeah, priceless and extremely diverse. And I think to some degree there's strength in the diversity, the fact that we have so many unique people from different walks of life who are able to give counsel and connectivity when I need it. It's been invaluable. I pride myself on listening at everybody's perspective. I don't want to be narrow in my judgments or presumptuous in my attitudes. And so I like to hear what everybody thinks and then draw my own conclusions after I've done my research.
Wow. Is the door still open for friends or is that closed?
That's an interesting question. I think my heart is still open, but my time is so limited. And I think that friends deserve a real investment. I think I don't use the term friend loosely. And I don't just collect names like people do, followers and Twitter and Facebook and that. I'm really, if I'm your friend, I'm really your friend. And I'm starting to feel a bit stretched because my heart wants to love more people than my body has time to keep up with.
Wow.
Yeah, because I'm always been fascinated by people and always had an ability to love a diverse range of people. And I like to invest time into my friendships, and I want time invested into me. I'm not the kind of person that you can be friends with me and call me once every 3 years and me take you seriously.
Wow, wow. I want to go back to the hills of West Virginia,
Okay.
and I want to talk about Great Jakes and Great Jakes. No disrespect, Great Jakes and Great Jakes. Great Jakes in the hills of West Virginia, the musician, the guy who was cutting the potatoes and playing the organ with the smell of onions because you made the potato salad.
Absolutely.
Waiting for the 250 to 60 people who were coming in from all over the country at that time to one of your conferences.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Great Jakes, and then I want to talk about Great Jakes.
Well, you know, it's funny because the secret sauce to the one you see now is in the one you saw then. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All you're seeing now is the outworking of the internal that existed then. And when I was doing a big conference of 250 people, and I mean that was packed out,
Yes.
sold out, and we were happy and shouting about it, he was building up my leadership skills, introducing me to pressure, exposing me to the fluidity of and the fickleness of humanity. so that when I got here, I wouldn't break so easily. I got an interesting story along those lines I think you will enjoy. Recently, I went back to Charleston, West Virginia to participate in a funeral. And after leaving the funeral, I had the driver stop by the house that I started my family in. It's in Dunbar, and we went up under the underpass and around the corner. And I got out of the car and I stood in the driveway. And it was incredibly emotional to me. Because when I lived in that house, I was in my 20s. And I had just gotten married. In fact, I lived in it before I got married, but I'd since been married, and I was struggling to keep the utilities on. The phone was off for a period, and I was going to the neighbor's house to use the phone. I literally started building a room on the back of the house that I ran out of money and couldn't finish.
Wow.
And I remember climbing out of the back window of the existing structure into the part that I was trying to build and looking up in the heavens and wondering, would I ever be able to finish anything? And I was so worried and so afraid that I'd bitten off more than I could chew. I had a wife and 2 kids. I'd lost my job. I had no income. My church was small. My transportation was unpredictable at best. And here I am now, 56 years old. I had the driver pull over to the side of the road, and I looked at my 26-year-old self.
Wow.
And I said, you made it.
You looked at your 26-year-old self.
Yes. And it was almost like a conversation between the two of us, because the 26-year-old was so uncertain. And at 56, 30 years up under my belt, I came back to tell myself, he heard you. Your prayers worked. You did get up off the ground. You can get all your utilities paid at the same time, and you got a telephone. You're doing good. It touched me in such a deep place that I cried all the way back to the airport. And
your 56-year-old self talked to your 26-year-old self.
Yes. I come
I'm
around
amazed
full
at the
circle.
fact that the 26-year-old self was standing there waiting to hear from the 56-year-old self to say, we can move from here now.
He always is. I think that the mystery of all men, and black men in particular, is that we always want to hear from the older version of ourselves to get some sort of template that you made it. I am so grateful, whether I have accomplished anything or not, that I am alive 30 years later.
Wow.
That's a miracle.
Wow.
That I'm in good health 30
Yes.
years later. That I walked in on my own 2 legs and nobody had to pull me in or carry me out or roll me around. 30 years?
Wow.
A lot can happen in 30 years.
A lot can happen.
A lot of people died in those 30 years. A lot of people got sick and got killed and were in car wrecks, and I was still here. And I had answered my own questions, and I think that's very important for a person to be able to answer your questions and the uncertainties about yourself. You know, we often speak so much in spiritual terms that we don't speak much in practical terms. I knew God was able. I wasn't sure I was able.
Wow.
And since Paul said I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me, the I can has a factor in the Christ that strengthens
Yes.
me. If you don't get the I can right, the Christ that strengthens won't have anything to work with. And my questions were very strongly around whether I could or not. And I came back and stood in the driveway and told myself, you made it.
Told myself,
You made it.
you made it.
Yeah.
In 1992 and 1993, there were 2 words that circled the globe and still echoes now in the spirit. Those words was,
Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. 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 Yes.
get ready. Get ready, get ready, get ready. And the most amazing thing, you was telling folks to get ready, and you were ready.
Yeah.
And you maximized every moment of that thought, get ready. And that's what we're sitting here today, and that's what we see today. It's almost like you are a living epistle. You know, you're not just writing this book, but you've lived it out, and now we can take it and walk through that. So when I'm seeing this, when I look at the word instinct, and I don't think, I mean, people know that they have it, but Lord has definitely used you to wake us up about it.
Instinct simply means, it's just a secular term that means I've been pre-wired. I've been pre-wired. Took the work out of it. It's pre-wired. Glory to God. You buy a toy now, it's pre-wired. Wouldn't it be terrible? Get you a motorcycle and get it home, they say, you got to wire it. You say, I can drive it, but I can't wire it. No, they deliver it pre-wired. So when you hit the button, you have a right to expect a reaction based on the fact it was wired to function that way before the stimulus was ever provided. Pre-wired, pre-wired. Designed to do certain things, designed to function a certain way. I'm not fighting with myself, I'm flowing with myself. And we begin to understand that, we begin to unlock that. Understanding that you have been pre-wired is praise to the manufacturer.
This is something that for the next 5 or 6 years is just going to take off like a chaff in the wind.
I hope it does.
It's like pollen, it's going to be everywhere.
I hope it does, and not for the purpose of sales, but for the purpose of impartation. We have so many people who are duplicates of great people. We need some more originals. Mm-hmm. I wrote Instinct because I believe that every person has the potential to be original and unique.
So we need more originals.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Mm-hmm. You always lose resolution when you make copies.
Yes.
Okay, and as it is with the picture, so it is with the person. You're going to lose resolution and definition and clarity anytime you make copies. And I'm seeing a lot of copies come down the chain instead of great originals. And instinct is a principle that says there is something organically, intrinsically inside of you that is valuable, that must be brought to harvest. The very first time that God walks up on man and says to him, be fruitful, the command proves that God knew he was seedful. You cannot ask something to be fruitful if you don't know that there's a seed in them. And I think people are trying to harvest something that they have not yet identified.
Wow.
To be able to come in contact with the seeds of greatness.
Have not identified or don't have in them.
I think they have it, they haven't identified it. We've not been trained to look within ourselves for anything. And why would God create an empty decanter and have nothing to put in it? Every other species that he's created instinctively gravitates to particular environments. Fish don't take swimming classes. Birds don't take flight lessons. They instinctively gravitate to the orbit that they were created to function in. Likewise, man was created to function, not only in the presence and the power of God, but to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish, to subdue, to have dominion, to change your environment. How do you want me to change the environment? Through what I put in you.
I had an opportunity to sit in the service with you earlier today.
Yes.
And you did an illustration that is very, very powerful that I want our viewers to look at. And you talked about making a deposit. Watch this.
Let me see. Let me see. I need you to help me out with something. You can sit right there. I need you to help me out. Let me see. You want to help me? You'll help me. You'll help me. See, I can't do this without you. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how my mama did it. 5. You just hold on to that. Glory to God. That's all you got to do is just hold on to that. So, see, what you have to understand is that God is masterful in wiring you, preparing you, and equipping you for all that life will challenge of you. Life cannot make a withdrawal where there's not been a deposit. And the more demanding your life is, the more of a compliment it is to you. Because he wouldn't ask it of you if he hadn't put it in you. You see what I'm saying? I wondered, I was in Chicago recently and I saw a bag lady going down the street pushing a cart, had on a coat and mismatched socks and funny looking hat and all kinds of junk in her cart. And I wondered, how can this woman walk around in the street day and night and nobody mug her? Nobody rob her. Nobody take advantage of her. I said, that's kind of weird. And then I realized they don't rob her because they figure she doesn't have anything. So she can move around, go anywhere she wants to go, and it's cool. They even learn her name. Hey, Helen. They don't ask Helen for anything because they don't think Helen has anything. If life is asking a lot of you, it is only because it knows there's a lot in you. And all you got to do is come to the point that you begin to understand what you have instinctively been created with and how to release it, how to flow in it. You can handle it. You got this. You got this. Don't be flustered. Don't be frustrated. Just flow with it. You got this. Let me ask you something. Let me have $100. Let me have $100. Now, see, he can't say he doesn't have it. If I hadn't have given it to him, he might could convince me that he doesn't have it. But because I gave it to him, I have a right to ask it of him because I know what's in him because I put it in him myself. Isn't that good? Let me have $100. Thank you very much. Now see, I wanted this illustration to turn out right, so I didn't walk up and ask him for $100 arbitrarily because I couldn't be sure that he had it. So to be sure that when the time came that I needed it, he would have it, I put it in him so that I knew that when I needed it, it would be right there. So he is my deposit box. That's what you are to God.
Woo! That $500 thing.
Yeah.
I knew you had it because
I
gave it to you. So I'm not expecting you to give me what I didn't give you.
That's right.
Nah.
That's right.
Coming up on Rejoice in the Word.
What I wanted to do in this book was not to create the instinct, but to unveil it. To remind people, have you noticed that when you do such and such a thing, you have energy, your eyes light up, and you're excited? Have you noticed that when you do such and such a other thing, it's laborious and you have no passion and no creativity? Wonder what would happen if you spent more time doing the thing that gives you fire? See, you have to describe it to people for people to say, oh yeah, I do notice that. Have you noticed that when you do this, you win, and when you do that, you don't, and when you do this, you win? Wonder, now you're getting a pattern of who you really are. So, the second half of your life is supposed to be better than the first half of your life.
The second half of your life.
Absolutely.
Is supposed to be better than the first half.
Yes, because it benefits from all the mistakes and the dumb things you did in the first half. Now you have something called focus.
Yes.
Yeah, you can focus on what you're really good at. You can delegate what you're not good at. I'm not saying that what you're not good at shouldn't be done, but maybe it shouldn't be done by you. What makes a newborn make sucking noises? When a sea turtle is birthed on land, the first thing it does is start moving toward water. The caterpillar doesn't spin silk because he sees somebody else doing it. These are natural, innate instincts. There is an instinct to increase. There is an instinct to lead.
In his newest book, New York Times best-selling author T.D. Jakes gives you keys to true fulfillment when you align your actions with your instincts.
People need to go back to following their instincts.
Unleash your inborn drive. Purchase your copy wherever books are sold or tdjakes.com. Available in stores everywhere.
It's okay so far?
Yeah, we're great.
You great. Yeah, you are.
Okay. We're still rolling.
Okay.
Ready, Bishop?
Yes. Oh. Yes.
Ready, Bishops?
Yeah.
Ready, in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Then he says, I ordained you. I ordained you. I ordained you. I consecrated you. I filled your inventory for every demand that would come upon you. Let me have $100. And I put everything in you that I would ever need to get out from you. And the reason I know you have it is because I ordained you before. So now that we are in time and life is coming along and it's asking more and more and more of you, it cannot ask more of you than what I put inside of you. Let me have $100. Because I know it was in there, because I pre-wired it inside of you before you ever even got there. Now let me tell you why I gave you the $500. Because I knew instinctively that you would not rip me off in the middle of me doing what I'm doing. For to him whom much is given, much is required. I wouldn't have never given it to you if I didn't trust you with it. Oh, y'all don't hear what I'm saying? I gifted you because I trusted you. And whenever you get my gift, it's a sign you have my trust. And as long as you have my trust, you can have, how much you want? You can have it all back again. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. It don't make no difference. You want some more? You can have some more because I trust you. Whatever you want, whatever you need, you can have it because I trust you. Do you hear what I'm saying to you this morning? He says to Jeremiah, you're going to be a prophet because I put prophecy in you. Before I formed you in the belly, I knew you, I ordained you, I sanctified you to be a prophet unto the nations. Now, all time is going to do is release out of you what eternity has invested in you. And to make sure that you did it, I pre-wired you. It's in your instincts. You're not going to have to take a class. You're not going to have to take a course. You're not going to have to imitate anybody. Instinctively, what I put in you, you're going to gravitate like the sea turtles and go to the water because you are inclined. Is this good? Could I have my money back?
I thought that was amazing, that God doesn't ask of you anything that he has not put in you.
Well, you know, we have nothing of ourselves. And so because we approach the understanding of God largely through the relationship that we have through Jesus Christ, we forget the fact that God the Father, as a creator, created every human being, not just church beings, every human being with certain instincts. Mm-hmm. Those instincts protect us, they help to heal us, they help to move all of the ecosystem of humanity as well as our other inhabitants through this world. We are instinctive. Beavers are instinctive, possums are instinctive, everything he made is instinctive. So when you take that instinctive being and you also add to that the power of the Holy Spirit, wow, you really got something there. And the problem that we don't have so many times is that we are so, if you've ever heard the saying, we're so heavenly minded, we're no earthly good. Sometimes we are so focused on who we are in the afterlife that we don't maximize who we are in the present life.
Wow.
See, and the afterlife is taken care of. He's already prepared all of that. It's over here where we have to prepare. He went to prepare a place. We stay to prepare. And so what I wrote Instinct for was to challenge people, are you sure that job is all you got? That's all you got in you? Really? You know? Are you sure that that little cottage you rent over on the corner of 5th and 12th is all you're going to do for 40 years? Really? You're not going to leave your son anything? Is there an idea in you? Because IBM is an idea. Apple Computers is an idea.
Yes.
Starbucks did not create coffee. They're an idea. They took something we drink all the time and made millions of dollars. Colonel Sanders didn't create chicken. You're talking about ideas. And the death of ideas has birthed crazy television, uneducated, illiterate children. We're losing creativity. And I wrote Instincts to say to you, there are things inside of you that if you would identify them and invest in them and put them in fertile ground, you could harvest them and they would be life-changing. I was doing the life class for Oprah, and I got a question about parenting. I said, you ought to point your children where they are instinctively pointed. Invest in their inclination. Don't try to make an artist a football star. Just because you like football doesn't mean that your boy likes football. Don't try to make him be you. Follow his instincts. When you follow his instincts, you follow his faith. My mother's sister told my mother, don't be running down there putting all your money in that church following that boy. She said, you got to use some wisdom. Boy running around preaching, you done bought him all them Bibles and all them suits and stuff going around, and you got to use some wisdom. My mother said, mind your business. It was years before my aunt saw what my mother perceived.
In your book, in chapter number 2, there's a chapter called Basic Instincts, and you talk about birds building nests so that predators can't get to them. You talk about bees flying around extracting pollen, take back to the nest. You talk about animals, sheep, and they move in packs so that they're less vulnerable. I'm a bee. I'm now flying. I'm extracting pollen from you to carry back to my hide. What basic instincts do you give preachers, ministerial instincts? What should we be looking for?
I think that the day of thinking that you can build a great ministry off of preaching alone is long over.
Wow.
That's number one. I think that the gift of administration has to operate just as fluently as the gift of preaching. I think that you
and we've seen that in many churches where sometimes the preacher's not a great preacher, but has a phenomenal ministry.
Exactly,
yes.
Exactly. It is not throwing yourself, the day of throwing yourself into the ocean to catch the fish is gone. Throw your net, your structure,
yes.
your organization, how you do things, and you'll catch more fish than if you throw yourself. And we have a generation of preachers who have been throwing themselves off the boat into the water, catching fish in their hand. Well, let me tell you something. That might be exciting, but it's not effective. And your program, your outreach, your children's church, your compassion in the community, your work for the underprivileged, all of it is a part of the comprehensive net that you throw out. And you can't just leap off the boat naked and jump in the water and call yourself a ministry just because you preach.
Yes.
So to me, it's about building structure. And in my book even, I take the luxury of indulging into picking people around you who accentuate what you're good at. Rather than compete with you, they complete you.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're going to build 21st century ministry, you have to do it like Jesus did, with a team. Jesus introduces the team concept. He doesn't just go at it by himself, he has the team with him. And choosing your team and coming in a comprehensive way, I think, is a prerequisite for success today.
This is a mega ministry. And mega is a word that's now used very loosely and
Yes,
lightly.
true.
What mega ministry is for the small guy who is reaching towards that, he needs to come and visit here on a Sunday morning, and he's going to find out that with all the mega that is out there, this is a family church.
Very much so.
It is thousands
Yeah.
are sitting there, and it's like, no disrespect, it's a storefront.
It's a storefront.
It's a family.
That's right.
And it's small is the new big.
Right.
You taught me that many years ago.
That's right.
Small is the new big, and big is the new small. Oftentimes people go to big parties because they like the
Anonymity.
yeah.
Yeah, nobody knows who you are. You
Yeah.
disappear in the crowd.
Yeah.
You see, all I could build was all that I am. So when I came here to build a church, I got spirit-filled in a storefront. My first church was a storefront, literally a storefront. And so even though the building structure has changed in dynamics, the atmosphere doesn't come from block, it comes from out of you.
But that's why I said Great Jakes and Great Jakes, because you said your first church was literally a storefront.
Yeah.
Well, I beg to differ with you on that. It was a small place, but that administrative, it was always like
Yes,
that.
yes,
And
real
it was
tight.
real. When
Yeah.
shepherds bleed, back to
Yeah.
the body,
That's
real tight. you
That's
know.
right.
I think that's powerful.
With Jerry curls.
I ain't starting there. This is very, very amazing to me. In chapter number 6, you talk about a sense of direction, and you allude to your daddy having a cleaning business and your mom being a school teacher. The question then comes now: if instinct is something that you are born with, can it be taught?
I don't think it can be taught. I think it can be revealed. It can be uncovered. You know, the word that we use for the book of Revelations is the Greek word apocalypse, which literally means the unveiling. And what I wanted to do in this book was not to create the instinct, but to unveil it. To remind people, have you noticed that when you do such a thing, you have energy, your eyes light up, and you're excited? Have you noticed that when you do such a other thing, it's laborious and you have no passion and no creativity? Wonder what would happen if you spent more time doing the thing that gives you fire? See, you have to describe it to people for people to say, oh yeah, I do notice that. Have you noticed that when you do this, you win, and when you do that, you don't, and when you do this, you win? Wonder, now you're getting a pattern of who you really are. So, the second half of your life is supposed to be better than the first half of your life.
The second half of your life
Absolutely.
is supposed to be better than the first half.
Yes, because it benefits from all the mistakes and the dumb things you did in the first half. Now you have something
The
called
dumb things,
focus.
yes.
Yeah, you can focus on what you're really good at. You can delegate what you're not good at. I'm not saying that what you're not good at shouldn't be done, but maybe it shouldn't be done by you. Your instincts have something to do with your destiny. My brother and my dad played football. I went out for football. I was good too. I was running in the wrong direction, but I was. If they'd have turned me around the right way, I'd have killed everybody in there. It'd have been a mess up in that place. I'd have wore them out, but I felt so bad. My father was a part of the Cleveland Browns. How could I be Ernest's son and not be good at what he was good at? See, sometimes the only reason you're failing is because you're failing at doing something that you were not created to do. When I found out where I fit, let me tell you something, I rocked the entire planet. The boy who was running the wrong way on the football field is running the right way in the pulpit because I followed my instincts. Oh, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting somebody ready for something. You're about to step into your purpose, into your destiny. You need to quit grieving over what you are not and thank God for what you are. Your blessing is in what you are. Your destiny is in what you are. Your future is in what you are. Your prosperity is in what you are inside. They're going to love you when they can see you. Stop hiding who you are. As soon as they see you, oh God. Okay. You can reserve yourself, and I love this phrase, for your highest and best use.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you said it's something that can be revealed.
Revealed.
Like an apocalypse.
Yes.
I want to take you back about 15, maybe 19 years ago. I came to preach at the Potter's House when you first came here.
Yes.
I finished ministering. I'm changing. I come upstairs, and you said to me, the message you preached today is a book. And I whispered to you in the corner, and I said, I can't write the book because I can't read and I can't write. And you said, they got people that can do stuff like that. Remember that?
I did. Yeah.
They have people do stuff. And I went and I got a tape recorder and I started talking into that
Absolutely.
tape. I started talking into that tape recorder. Well, now I can read, write, what have you. It jumped out at me when you said reveal. Are there those of us who are called of God to be instinct revealers for others?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. That's the only reason to follow a man of God is because he speaks to your destiny. That's the only reason. That's the only reason to get out of bed on Sunday morning is because somebody is saying something to you that's calling something out of you, that's revealing something to you about yourself, something that's usable on Monday is the only reason to come out on Sunday.
Wow.
If it's not usable on Monday, I'll stay at home on Sunday.
Yes.
I want somebody who speaks to the deep thing down inside of me and calls it out. That Moses means drawn out, to draw it out of me. You don't have to create it in me, draw it out of me. And there are certain ministries that draw it out of you.
That Moses.
Yes.
That Moses, to draw it out of me. On my notes here, Moses tries to free, or he frees an Israelite before he realizes that he's a deliverer. That's instinctive in him.
Right.
It's placed on the inside of him. In chapter number 4 of the book, this is the one I really, really love, an elephant over there.
Yeah.
And you talk about the billionaires that invite you over, black enterprises in Africa, invite you over there to deal with faith and finances. When I went to Africa, we heard about Africa all the time. We think it's poor, and we go over there, millionaires over there, insanely rich, beyond our comprehension. Talk about that elephant over there.
The power of the moment exists from the perspective that I am on a safari with my son. First of all, that's amazing. My father never could take me on a safari. The fact that every generation progresses beyond the other generation is a wonderful thing. So I've got my son, we're on a safari, and we finished teaching the conference. One of the perks from the conference is I get to go on this safari. I'm seated beside a zoologist who is spouting all of this complex, comprehensive information about the mating, the eating habits, the birthing processes of all of these animals. Great information. It's like sitting beside an encyclopedia. And sitting out there on the end of the Jeep is a Zulu sitting on a metal chair with a rifle in his hand, and he's not saying a word, And so we ride along, we see all of these other animals, and we have not seen the elephant, and all of a sudden, the Zulu speaks, and he says, the elephant is over there. And when he said it, my head exploded. Because all of a sudden I realized the zoologist could explain it, but the Zulu could find it. Intellectualism can explain it, but instinct can find it. I'm not trying to replace intellectualism, but if intellectualism loads the gun, instinct pulls the trigger. And understanding when to pull the trigger is a powerful thing when you're holding a gun. So, I got bullets in here, yeah, but when do you pull the trigger? Instinct. Instinct is important. You mentioned earlier about Moses and the murder he committed in the process of finding out he was a deliverer. There's no better example of somebody who's discovering their instincts. He knows he is a deliverer. He doesn't know how to go about it yet, but the early embryonic stages of being somebody who's not going to take it is showing up in his past. Even if you got it wrong the first time, you ought to look at your past and see what your past is telling you about you. Because generally there are clues
See what
in
your
our
past
history.
is telling you about you.
Oh, absolutely. There are generally clues in your history that will predict your destiny. You may not have done the details right. It may take you 40 years to come into it, but ultimately, Moses, you're going to end up delivering not just one guy, but all of the children of Israel, and you're going to bring them out on eagle's wings, and the waters are going to part for you. And the fight that you had to fight then, you won't have to fight now, because now you know who you really are.
In our remaining moments, I want to talk to you about two other things. Chapter number 12, protection from predators. And I want to talk about Bentley and Sable.
My dogs, literally.
I want to talk about the dogs.
Yeah. You know, I introduced my dogs. I've raised them since they were puppies, and I brought them in and into my backyard, and it's absolutely wonderful. This playground is beautiful. It's nice, but I live in Texas, so that means at night you got coyotes and you got all kinds of alley cats and bobcats and what have you. And even though they're petted and rubbed on and loved and washed and collared and fed during the day, they have to fight at night. Wow. And the best environments, no matter how serene.
That is powerful by itself. They have to fight
at night. Yeah, they have to fight at night.
No matter how wonderful the day is.
No.
You got to fight at night.
You got to fight at night. See? And when you start talking about predators, they come out at night. You know, in every sphere, you know, in the book I talk about different spheres of influence are all jungles, and every jungle has its own predators. And no matter whether you're in politics or religion or faith or business or family or whatever you're in, it has its own predators, and they come out at night. Don't let the water bowl fool you, and the tinkling bells and the pleasant grass distract you from the fact there's some bobcats out there.
Yes.
You know, there's some coyotes that are going to try you tonight, and they had to fight it. And I watched my dogs fight and claim their turf. And in the book, I use them as a metaphor to make people understand just because you run into a bobcat doesn't mean it's not your backyard.
Wow.
Just because you had to run off a few coyotes doesn't mean you're not going to possess the land. And I use these metaphors about animals to make us understand that we were meant to overcome, but we will probably have to fight.
So there are hindrances to one's finding what their instincts are.
Oh, yes.
What are some of those hindrances?
It's a lot of things.
Because it's still ringing in my head, you know, that the fight starts at night. You got to fight at night.
Yeah, one of the hindrances is fear. And I think that is the biggest misnomer that I run into. People think that if they are not free of fear, they cannot possess a thing. But you have to feel the fear and do it anyway.
T.D. Jakes is afraid of what?
Everything.
T.D. Jakes is afraid of what?
I was afraid every day.
T.D. Jakes is afraid of what?
Everything.
Bishop,
not
may
doing
the
a good
Lord
job.
forgive you.
No,
May the Lord
I'm
forgive you.
serious. Not doing a good job on stage. Buying property.
Not doing a good job on T.D. Jakes.
Yes.
The world is watching.
Yes. Yes. Please know this. You should hear the guy that preaches in my head and how much better he is than I am. It's quite intimidating. I can never tell it like I hear it. And I walk off the stage and I'm frustrated because I can never get it out of me like he put it in me. You should hear how it sounds inside of me. And my best attempt falls short of what he preached in me. I can never get it out right. And I was afraid when I did MegaFest. Every time I ever did it, it's like slapping a gorilla and getting in a fight in a jungle. It's horrifying. The budget is unbelievable. Yes. The demands are astronomical. If you fall, you're going to fall off the Empire State Building. Yes. It was terribly frightening, but I did it anyway. Wrote my first book. It was frightening. I thought, who will read this? But I wrote it anyway. When I moved from Charleston to Dallas, everybody was talking. He doesn't know what he's doing.
So how do you operate with fear? How do you operate in the grace, or it's sort of like playing poker. For you to sit here and say that you're afraid of everything, no, nobody's believing you.
Yeah.
You do it with such a grace and with such an ease.
Well, this is my philosophy. I don't mind fear riding. I just don't let it drive. Okay? It may be in the car, but it'll never get the wheel.
Wow.
I make sure that my convictions, my faith, my passion, my tenacity has
So
the
it
wheel.
snatches at the wheel and sometimes it swerves.
Yeah, it snatches at the wheel, but I don't let it have it. There's been many times that it snatched at the wheel. Many challenges, raising children. I mean, just things that are common to men, not just the big major things, but things that are common to men. Getting married, raising children, taking my mother in the house when she was sick. Can you handle this? Can you handle this and preach every day and pastor and come home and mash up applesauce and help her to swallow? There's always something
Hallelujah.
that demands so much of you that you wonder, do you have enough? And the answer is yes. It wouldn't happen to you if he hadn't put it in you. You do have the power within yourself to maintain your focus and keep on going, and you are instinctive in the moment.
Bishop Bloomer, I don't care what happens. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they do. I don't care how they fight. All things will work together for the good of them that love the Lord, who are the called according to his purpose. As long as it's his purpose, you can withstand anything, anybody, any attack, any trial, any affliction, as long as you love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. No weapon formed against you shall be able to prosper. Every tongue that rises against you, God will condemn.
One time my wife and I were taking care of my daughter Sarah, and my daughter Sarah gets these terrible, unbelievable nosebleeds. I mean, just profuse nose bleeding, and it's just streaming out of her nose and everything like that. It's absolutely terrible. And I'm trying to handle it, and my wife steps in. And my wife moved on that situation with such grace that I backed up out of the room, because her motherly instinct, no medical training, her motherly instinct stepped in, and she'd hold her head this way, do this. And I thought, how did you know to do that?
This is my child.
She said, this is my child. In the moment, I just know what to do. See, those kinds of instincts are what birthed the civil rights movement, what made Rosa Parks say, I'm not getting up out of my seat. In the moment, snap decisions that are instinctively, inherently within us. We need that today, whether it's taking care of a child, whether it's moving our community forward, whether it's deciding to go from a 9 to 5 to opening up a business, or whether it is, and this is a problem in our community more times than not, we go into business more readily than any other ethnic group in the country. The stats back that up. But we also go out of business as more rapidly than any other group in the country. We get stuck not knowing how to turn our hustle into a business. And until you learn how to move a hustle to a business, you're going to be in and out and up and down. And part of that process is instinctive.
Turn the hustle into a business.
You got to turn it into a business. The first thing Oprah said to me is, I could have written this book. She said, everything I ever did, I did it by instinct. She's sitting up there doing the news in Baltimore somewhere and says, you know what? I could do something else. I feel something else drawing me. Started birthing business. To go from a hustle to a business requires instinct. It requires courage, because you will have fear. It requires tenacity, because you won't always have the money. It requires focus, because the people around you may not support you. And yet there is something inside of you that compels you. I do not want to die, Bishop, like a lion in a cage looking through the bars at the wild I could have ran in. And stay behind the cage because the food is free. I do not want to die
Bishop.
in the cage. You hear what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the food is free, I live in a cage. I'd rather chase down my dinner than to die in my cage.
Turn the hustle into a business.
Yes, sir.
Turn the hustle into a business.
Yes,
That
sir.
spoke to me.
Yeah.
A hustle into a business.
Yeah.
Because all I had was a hustle.
Yeah.
Instinctively, it's there.
Yes, it's instinctively there. I go into prisons and minister, and I teach business principles to inmates. I tell them, hey, man, if you can buy dope wholesale and sell it retail,
Yes.
and pay your boys,
Yes.
and live off the profit,
Yes.
you're a businessman.
You're a businessman.
You just need to take that principle and put it on something legal.
Well, you know I understand that, right?
Yeah, yeah, but translating it, that's why I call it
Translating it.
unveiling.
Unveiling.
Unveiling the people to let them see what they really are. That you're not doing anything any different than Bill Gates or anybody on Wall Street is doing. You're buying and selling and paying the staff and living off the profit. You just need to do it in a legitimate way. Instinct means that proclivity to do business is down inside of you. The proclivity is not wrong. Now, the product might be illegal,
Yes.
but the proclivity is not wrong. If you take your energies and direct it into something positive, you could be much more successful. And those are the kinds of things that I address in Instinct.
Product, packaging, promotion, distribution. That's what I learned on the street corner in Red Hook selling drugs.
Right.
You turn that hustle. Well, we're done with that, but the principle is still the same.
Absolutely.
Product, packaging, promotion, distribution.
You know, the most amazing thing when I started studying instincts and I went to the university and started looking in the archives for information about instincts, there is an instinct to increase. There is an instinct to increase. Whether you're secular or sacred, there is an instinct within us to take what we have been given and turn it into something more. It is that instinct that I want to unveil. You don't need anybody to bring you free dinner. You need to discover your instincts and unveil what's in you. And if you do, you can increase the world you live in.
Thank you so much, Bishop Jakes.
It's been a real pleasure.
This is the part that I should say to you, who should get this book? You just answered it. Everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody should get this book. And that's what I meant when we first started by saying great Jakes and great Jakes. And I'm so happy to be sitting across from great Jakes.
And it was a great interview. Thank you
Thank you
very
so
much.
much. God bless you.
Bless you.
Rejoice in the Word every Friday night right here on this network.
Very good. Please?
Woo! Woo!
Okay. Let's,
Great, thank you so much. This is fantastic.
we got our still shots. Give me something we can use. Yeah. Hold the book up so they can see it in the shot. And we're going to put it on Instagram. Who's got the camera for us? They're right here, pointed this way.
No, right. Her.
Okay, her. Okay. Yeah. We got him? Okay. Okay, good. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay, let's going to do a quick grin and grip, and then we're wrapped with this piece.
Okay.
Okay? The two of you will just stand, and we'll have the book in the middle. We'll look directly at this young lady with the red shirt on.
You got it. My people be rolling it.
That's it, absolutely.
Got it. Good
Thank
deal.
you. That's a wrap on the Word
We're gonna
Network.
promote
Thank
it like
you
crazy.
so much.
And you promote it, we'll meet you in the middle. Okay. Thank you. Thanks.